Hi everybody, welcome to another rainy day at A Case of the Jills. I am really gonna have to invest in a ring light one of these days. So today's video is going to be about the mistakes that sometimes people make in recovery. You might be asking yourself, I am trying to recover. Why are you telling me now about mistakes that I might make in the future? I'm gonna be talking about a lot of these things so that as you're going through the recovery process, you're a little more informed as to what's going to be important once you get to the other side. If I had known some of these things before going through the recovery process, I might have made some different decisions. I did not do this perfectly, as I have said many times. And so I'm sharing all of this with you today so that hopefully you don't do the same stupid things I did. Now, I didn't do all of these things, but I have spoken to a lot of different clients that tend to sort of make these different types of mistakes. Most of what I'm talking about on this video today has to do with hypothalamic amenorrhea, but some of it is applicable to what we would expect going through overtraining syndrome as well. First thing I want to make clear is something that you probably will have guessed if you have watched this channel for more than 5 minutes. My perspective is that recovery is the beginning of the process. It's not the end game. It's actually the start of a whole new experience. Going through recovery means that we're learning a lot about ourselves. In many cases, we're learning things that we never knew were true before, including what our bodies can handle and what they can't. It also means that we have to ask hard questions about how we got here in the first place. And we could have gotten to this place from a lot of different means. So we have to uncover that so that we make sure we don't go back there. For some of us, it could have been a lack of knowledge about training and nutrition. For others of us, it can be compensation for something, trying to regulate our emotions. It could have to do with perfectionism and insecurity. Let's be real, it could have to do with body image issues. It can have lots to do with our identity, how we want to be seen in the world, our self-esteem, and it could be a combination of all of the above. If you're not coming through recovery with the answers to that question of how you got here, you might be missing a step. So without further ado, let's talk screw-ups. In no particular order, here we go. Number one mistake that I see all the time is people returning to training too soon. The number one question I get in email is, when can I go back to training? The answer to that is extremely complicated. Most experts will agree that you should not change your training. You should not add volume or intensity or frequency in your training, and you shouldn't be changing your diet for at least 3 months of a normal menstrual cycle. And when I'm saying a normal menstrual cycle, I'm saying a menstrual cycle that lasts between 21 and 35 days. Remember, we need you to get at least 9 periods a year for this whole thing to work right. So if you find that that's not happening, it's a good indication that you've added volume too quickly. I know how excited you are to get back to things. I know how tempting it can be to say, I'm fine, I'm cured, everything's great, where are my running shoes? But the fact of the matter is that we do need more time for our bodies to settle. They need to be able to trust us and know that we're gonna feed them adequately and give them enough rest and recovery so that they can continue to generate the hormones we need to get a period. Mistake number 2, counting for accountability. I know this always starts off with the best intentions. People think that, gosh, I know nothing about adequate nutrition to recover from amenorrhea. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna count out the amount of calories I need. I am going to count out the macronutrients I need to get everything on the right track. I need to understand what portion sizes look like. Let me do all of this research and make sure I hit those goals every day. I used to have a video on this channel, which I have taken down for the following reason. For a lot of people, things like measuring calorie counts, macronutrients, and of course weight are gonna make us obsessed. People think they have to hit that goal every single day in order to recover, so they hit that goal and then they don't want to go beyond it. It doesn't allow them to understand their hunger and fullness cues, it doesn't allow them to follow their intuition, and it ends up becoming just another thing to freak out over. Normal, natural, intuitive eating does not include counting calories or macronutrients, even if it seems like it's for a good reason. No counting, no measuring, just don't do that. Mistake number 3, trading one obsession for another, otherwise known as, let me find an alternative reason to eat properly. Also known as, I don't want to be small, now I want to be ripped. I can't tell you how many times I see this. And listen, again, I understand the inclination. The inclination is to say, well, I spent my whole life trying to shrink my body, trying to be lean, trying to be small, tiny, especially if you're a runner or someone who's in a lean body sport. And then you turn around and decide to be a CrossFit badass. Again, the idea is not the problem. It's the idea that you want to grow muscle and be strong instead of weak, big and buff instead of fragile. I get this. We feel like doing the opposite of our instinct is helpful. But the problem is it's not the opposite. It's the same thing. We're still focused on the body. Also, it doesn't take us very long to veer into that transactional relationship with food again, where we're doing a certain amount of activity to justify our caloric intake. Slippery slope, slippery slope. Number 4 mistake, sitting on the bench. What do I mean by this? I mean, sometimes it's not good for us to be still overly focused on the sport that we needed to take a break from. This can be tricky. If you are a member of a team and you still want to stay in touch with your friends, by all means, I totally understand this. It can be healthy to stay in touch with your teammates and keep those friendships going. Unfortunately, that's not really the norm. The norm is, well, the norm is me, actually, when I just couldn't stop paying attention to ultra running gossip, what was going on with the races, what was going on with the people. I still went to races, I still volunteered at races. My life kind of revolved around what was going on with Western States 100 and UTMB and Vermont 100, blah. I just couldn't let go. I was always paying attention to what was going on in that world to the point where it was really hard for me to see what else there was. Anything that stops you from exploring maybe new activities or new ways to direct your life in recovery is not great. Process of recovery is about discovering yourself and maybe discovering some new things to do. I'm not saying you have to deviate yourself away from your sport completely. I'm just saying that it's a big world out there and you just never know what you might be interested in. The next 2 are kind of related to each other. The first one I'll call Let's Recover, but just enough. This is a person who has probably gained some weight, they may have even overshot, and they decided, and we're done. They're uncomfortable with physical changes, they're uncomfortable with the whole process of recovery. They still have not embraced what it took to get them here, and they absolutely do not want things to go further. And yes, I'm talking about their weight. This person will ride the line between recovery and non-recovery indefinitely. Their situation is usually characterized by very long cycles, probably skipped periods, and terrible PMS. They are still in a restrictive mindset and unfortunately are so afraid of gaining weight or so afraid of other body changes that they will never bust through this. I have some clients that are in this spot right now, and I will tell you it is not a fun place to be. It requires us to take that step back, understand again how we got here, and really examine how we feel about our self-worth. The second one in this category I like to call relapse, but make it fashion. This is what happens when someone's been recovered for quite a while, could even be years, and they've decided to return to having a body goal. Now they want to get back into bodybuilding. They want to lose some weight. They keep telling everyone that they're so in control that it starts to get a little weird. You can always tell the person that's in this stage, they get real political. They're like, why can't I do it? I can be healthy this time. I know my mistakes. I won't make them again. Who says you can't? Sure. But my question is, why do you want to? This is the same reason why I never post before and after pictures, and I don't advocate that any of you take them. Because again, the focus still comes back to the body. I refuse to think that the body and what it looks like is the best thing about any person watching this right now. I know it's not the best thing about me. And hey, if this is really what floats your boat, fine. But I would take a real long, hard look at why you keep coming back to your body as a measurement of a life goal. And the last mistake in recovery I want to talk about today is being ashamed of the changes that you've made. I'm talking about changes in body, changes in training, changes in interest, changes in anything. Shame is pointless and damaging. And like Brené Brown says, shame thrives in secrecy. Some people choose to combat this by being very open about their changes. They may talk about their changing training plans, they may talk about the weight that they've gained. Some people feel really good controlling the narrative around their new plan. Other people don't want to be open about the things that they're doing. And you know what? Both of them are fine. But I will tell you this. In either case, whether you decide to tell people or not, you keep your head up high. Taking control of your health is the last thing that you should ever be ashamed of. You should be proud that you're making the hard choice to do the right thing for you. If there is one message I could give to every single person watching this channel, it would be what I posted on Instagram last week, which is that you should be proud of the things that your body allows you to accomplish. Your body is not the accomplishment. Listen, I know this is hard stuff. A lot of what we think about the physical body is hardwired in our culture. It's hardwired in everything we see in the media and movies, TV, magazines, photos all over. It's everywhere we look. So you can't beat yourself up if this is what you do. You always go back to your body. But I'm here to tell you, that's not your value. So as you work toward recovery, through recovery, and after recovery, let's remember this is one long journey and we're all on it together. I hope that this was helpful today. Remember that you can schedule a mentoring call with me on acaseofthejills.com. The link is below. You can also follow me on Instagram. I hope that everyone is safe where they are. Please continue to social distance. Please continue to wash your hands. Please turn that TV off because you know it's not helping. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. Please be safe. I love you. Bye.